Hey, Composer Gloves here, and today we're going to be looking at how to write a piano line that will fit really well inside your next awesome hip-hop beat. So here's like an example. So you want to write a dope hip hop song or something. This isn't necessarily hip hop, but it's got a really nice jiving feel. It could easily fit in a number of genres. So let's talk about how to do this. So you grab your sound or whatever, and the reason I'm doing this is someone asked for me to make these bass sounds, so I did a tutorial for those, and they were really interested in writing music like this. And so the piano line is a lot of people just have a hard time writing these things because they don't play piano. So I play piano. Today I'm going to show you how to sequence piano as if you played piano. So with the piano, you have two hands. You have the left hand and the right hand. Generally, the left hand will play a supporting role while the right hand plays a melody. This is not always true. There's actually a bajillion examples where it's not true. But for the kind of music you write, it's probably true 80% of the time. Probably not 95% of the time. Probably true. So, for example, if I had like the one hand will do this, right? It'll be, let's do something like this. You know, whatever. I'm just sort of making stuff up right now. But you pick a chord progression and you go with it. And you notice that the whole point of that wasn't like anything. The point of it was you saw that my left hand, or you heard, my left hand was doing something like this. And it forms the bass. If you can get a solid bass going, you can easily sort of come up with a melody line on top. I'm working with a really small 2-octave keyboard thing too. So I feel a little compressed. If I had a bigger keyboard, it's a little easier to just sort of fly around. So this is one hand, this is the other hand. And when you're sequencing, it's kind of important that you recognize this. When you're writing music on a staff, like sheet music, it's a little more apparent because usually they're on separate staffs, but not always. Sometimes they're combined. But here it's sort of encoded. So this is going, so it's playing an a B flat. A sharp's a weird way of looking at it. So. Reading, I don't know, it would be really interesting to learn how to read MIDI music. But anyways, that's what's going on there, right? So the key here is we want to pick a melody. We're going to write one. We want to pick something that will fit our mood. So I picked a minor key, C minor. And what we're doing here is we're going up to C minor, but we're breaking up our chords. So we see that we have C, D, and G in C minor. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break it up. So here's a C, here's a G, there's my chord. And then this is actually the 7. So I'm playing a C minor 7. And 7s are really cool. They're sort of, if you know, I'm going to assume you know some theory. So okay, we're playing a C minor 7 chord. That's the new assumption. So I'm sounding all the notes in my chord. So you pick a chord and then you just break up how you share them. And then I do it again here, except for I do a little chord shift. So, and you'll notice here things like not all the notes are the same velocity. In fact, a lot of them are very different velocities. We could even talk about weird tuning things you could do, but they're all very different velocities. And also, they do not hit at the same time. They're very different times of hitting. If we look over here, like this is like an unusual spot. This is an unusual spot. So creating these rhythms, often easier played in live, but we can sequence them. Let's go to a new pattern. This is my piano. I believe I'm using the Giant, but I don't remember. So let's go ahead and sequence something similar in. So we'll stick with the same chord. So we'll C, and we'll make this one a little louder. The 5th, which is a G. And then on this one, we'll do one of these. Okay, let's go to the beginning. Okay, and now we want to make it sound. Okay, I dig that. So that's what our left hand would be doing, right? And then we're going to, one thing you can do is make them slightly off. These notes will be slightly louder, right? And this one will be, you might want these all to just be in general softer. Whoops. You could select notes so you can change only those, the volume of those notes. So just make it a little more intimate. The notes, now the piano player is probably using a pedal. That means that if you hold down the pedal, the notes will extend out. So we'll generally want them to be longer. And then we'll repeat our phrase. And then on mine, I syncopated it, which means I had an unexpected note, which would be this note. And it was unexpected because it lands on a beat you didn't think it was going to happen. I'm going to move it off sort of a little bit and see how it sounds. It will go like this. And so, okay. So what am I doing here? So I've found a note that most people would probably settle for this. And I'm not digging that though. I want it slightly off. So now it's slightly off the beat and it sounds cool. Things that are things that are in unexpected places will, if done right and not a lot, will sound very, very natural. They're expected almost. But they're not expected because it's in a place you didn't expect, but it's acceptable where it has happened. And then we're going to go da-da-da-da. So I'm going to move this down and we're going to play. So we're playing C minor. The next chord that is acceptable is C minor. We could do G minor. That will work really well in the key of C minor. There we go. Okay, so we can also, you don't want overlapping notes. It won't trigger. So you want notes that are not overlapping. And then we want these things slightly off. So this is a B flat major chord. And that works out pretty well because it's in the key of C minor. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to change up the velocities. I want the velocities to roll up with the higher notes being slightly louder. I want these to be our big notes. And then what we could do is we could take this, and now we could write more variations, but let's try adding a color note here. No, not yet. So let's do what I'm going to do here. Okay. So let's look at this in an easy way. It doesn't require very much theory. So we'll just use an inversion. So I could take this G down an octave, or I could take this C up an octave. Let's try up, and let's try taking this A sharp up an octave. And that sounds pretty nice. So okay, we're gonna run with this for now. Now let's write in a melody. So because we've taken our time and sort of gotten all our velocities in order and done this, by the way, it's really weird to say A sharp. Most people call this B flat. So what we're going to do is we're moving in C minor, so we'll put a C down. And then we'll go ahead and let's see, C minor. So that has a G in it. Let's do an octave jump. So what I'm doing is, this is C minor right here. So C minor scales. So that means that these two, D sharp and D, are in our scale. Maybe. So it would look like. That's kind of nice. So here, the pickup, I'm sort of copying what I did earlier. But if we did something that was a little more regular, it's just less interesting as a melody. And our melody should probably be louder than everything else. See, that's just not as interesting. And we can make this one slightly softer. So what I'm doing here is I've created, this is where our melody is going to breathe. So it's just, and then it's going to go. This is going to pick up into the next phrase, which will be a repeat. And we'll make this longer. And then not a repeat. Let's change it. So I'm going to go down to A sharp. That is in the scale. And it actually fits in nicely with the C minor 7 chord. So it'll fit really good, actually. So we'll go. And now when we hit the C, because we are approaching it, we're approaching it from the same direction, but with a new phrase at the beginning, it sounds like we've reached a different sort of conclusion. And then we have our loop going. So that's pretty much it. We could do other cool things. We could take this and do one of these arpeggios. So we're still taking C minor, so that'd be C, G, C. So C minor has C, E flat, and G. So put an E flat down, a G. And now these are almost always pedaled. So we are going to emulate that. I'm doing all the eighth notes. So you get something like this. So we're just arpeggiating up and down the chord we've already picked. So, and I want to go, and then I don't want to go back down because that's like kind of cliche. So I'll go up to an A. And then this G sharp is also in the key. And then we could do this again. And then we could make this one. So right now this has been conformed to C minor. Let's make it conform to G minor. So G minor has G, B flat, D. So we could say, okay, C is not there, but a B flat is, which is the same thing as A sharp. And then G, B flat, D sharp. We'll change this to D's and change this to a B flat. And then now it sounds like this. And because this is the lowest note, we'll just run with roots for now, because if we talk about other options, it gets very theoretical. But there's also emotional decisions. So anyways, I'm going to put G because we're working with the G minor chord. And then at the end here, we'll go. And then over here, we'll write our notes in. So we'll go like, okay, here's a C. And we're still working in C minor. So actually, we could take the same melody, but this is a different rhythm. So it would be kind of a little weird. Let's change our velocities here too, so that they're just all softer. So we're going to go with the longer melody on this one because we have all this movement down below. We could go in the middle. It depends. A lot of people like just the... If you're new at writing music, a lot of the simpler stuff seems to be more appealing. And then the longer you write and listen to music, the more unexpected stuff begins to become more appealing. It's like why... Wow, I can't speak. It's why fusion jazz is like a thing. But maybe we could do like El Run. And then we could repeat the phrase, but this time give it new meaning by choosing different notes. And then we could easily, so if we were to like, okay, cool, let's toss that down. Where's a spot that we could put this? That would make sort of sense. All right, let's try it over here. I just arbitrarily stuck it in a spot that originally, was originally there. Whoops, let's put the real pattern there. Okay, so this is what was there. So everything was custom fit together so that it made more sense. But anyways, you get the idea. You can now write nifty patterns. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll add this to the tutorial version where I make the bass, which is right here. Just keep in mind that this FLP has the master volume being turned down right here. So if you want to hear this stuff, you have to move it over here. And if it doesn't open, like this piano sound is not stock FL. This piano sound is part of Contact. And if you don't have Contact, you can't open it. So you're going to have to copy and paste it. I'm using the Grander. So if you have the Grander, good for you. If you don't, you have to copy and paste it and make your own piano sound. But yeah, that's that. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Hopefully that gave you some insight. I know I kind of worked a little fast. Didn't explain necessarily every nook and cranny. If you had like a particular question, but chances are I'll probably point you to my music theory series where I explain like a lot of these concepts. MIDI music theory is probably what you're looking for if this is a tutorial that interested you. However, I am working on a much more academic version of music theory that will also go way further than my other stuff because you hit a limit because we just don't have enough terms and we haven't identified enough things to really be to progress into the way more advanced stuff. So that's the purpose of the new music theory series, is to lay down a foundation that can take you through everything. So that'll be really good because I don't want to hit another limit because I went through the cadences and then I was like, man, this is going to get really dicey if I don't lay down all the other groundwork. So subscribe, support me on Patreon, and have a blessed day.